Patrick, a shutout in the second half. I know there's no moral victories.
Yeah.
In terms of progress for the defense and, growth, did you feel pretty good about what was going on and what was going on in that second half?
I was proud of how we fought in the second half, the poise and the resolve the players showed. It's something we've seen from those guys throughout, the spring, training camp, practices during the season, but really proud of that. Something to build on. Again, each week is different, but we can see some progress in terms of, third down, the run game, tackling was better in the second half. So all that stuff, and we're going to need it this week against Green Bay because dynamic group of receivers, the O-line's gelling well together, the quarterback, he's getting his feet underneath him, and obviously Matt does a really good job schematically. So we're going to need all that to build upon that for this week coming up.
Trevon Merrick came up with the first turnover, first interception, and it feels like, he's been growing this year. And last year he was injured, and that set him back a little bit. What have you seen from Trevon?
Trayvon just working hard in the classroom and on the practice field, and the conversations he's having with, whether it's Chris and Simo in terms of the coaches, getting insight from Josh in terms of, in the quarterbacks. I'm sure he's talking to those guys too, just to get the safety position. You got to be an information gatherer. How's this look to you guys? So I think that's part of it. You have to talk to them specifically, but I see a lot of conversations going on between periods. I know with myself, just talking to him, the football maturity, just the position, it takes a little while in terms of just to see all the different looks from that position. I think I've compared it before. Never coached the position, but similar to a quarterback, just getting to see more and more looks. That's how you become more comfortable with it.
As a defensive coordinator, you want your guys to be aggressive, but on Sunday, Jared Tillery, there was a mistake obviously that he made. What kind of conversations go into drawing that line of what you can and cannot do?
Well, each week we got to take into consideration what the rules of the game, and just in terms of what's going to be the emphasis or what's important for that week. But just again, we play within the rules. That's how we teach the fundamentals. All our teaching, whether in terms of coverage, block destruction, whatever it may be, it's all within the in terms of just working within the rules, and we just got to abide by the rules.
Speaking of that turnover coming, obviously we've talked a lot about turnovers coming in bunches. Is that something that maybe could jumpstart a little bit more?
Each week is different. We're going to continue with the process in terms of working it in practice and making it a point of emphasis, just like most defenses throughout the league, and see where it goes from there. But each week is so different. With Green Bay, they present different challenges, different looks, different ways they're going to scheme us up. So we'll see how it plays into it. But obviously, as a defense, you're trying to get the ball. That's a big point of emphasis in every defensive room.
On the return, you had a penalty on a blocking situation. How much can you work on that? It doesn't come up that much in the game, right? So it's is that something you even talk about or work on?
All 32 teams, we're given the same opportunity in terms of coaching off the film, get a chance to educate based on the film and get some input from the league, but just everything has to be within the rules. So, you get a chance to work on it, talk about it, but that's our job to cover those things.
So, Coach, can you talk a little bit more specifically about some of the challenges the Packers present to you?
Oh, absolutely. Let's start first with the head coach who's calling the plays. He's been a real successful play caller in this league for a long time. They do a lot to challenge you schematically. They do a lot to get the ball to the players. Again, just getting the ball to their dynamic players in space. That's a good thing they do there. But it all starts with the run game. And, they do a great job of scheming up the run game, figuring out ways to create angles, and they have the backs to do it, and the offensive line's gelling together pretty good. So, and, the new tight ends they have in there, they're willing blockers. The receivers, I think every time I've gone against Green Bay or been, and I used to work there for a long time ago, but they're always willing blockers. There's a level of toughness that comes into play. So it presents a lot of challenges. The combination of the run game, the pass game off the run game, and just how they challenge your rules and your eyes throughout the duration of the game.
One last question. How much does that extra day of preparation help you?
We'll see. It's all based. It's a production business. It's all based on how we play on Monday. So you get an extra day of rest for the players. We'll see how it plays out. It's all based on how we perform on Monday.
Do You mentioned the play caller. It's a very different quarterback, obviously, than it was last year. Have you seen much difference in how they call plays, how they design things?
We're still in the early process of it. Just what is it, Tuesday morning? So early process of it. We'll see as we go through it a little bit more this afternoon. But it all starts with the run game in terms of what they're trying to do. So everything's off the run game. That's how the offense has been built. So we got to just start there.
A couple of big fourth down stops in the interior of the line. How impressed were you with those players, just on those plays in general?
Anytime you're able to get a fourth down stop, it's like creating a turnover. And for those guys, I was real proud of what they did. I think it was 3:31 left in the game, fourth quarter, 4th and 1. It was a big play. Guys did their job, for a play that, we've seen more and more throughout the league with the push sneak. And they did a great job. I was proud of them. And, we'll continue to work on if Green Bay decides to go for on 4th down, we got to be ready to go this week as well.
I guess how much did you talk about that? I guess we're calling it the brotherly shove now since Philadelphia invented it.
Brother, I don't know the term.
How much have you talked about that play? I mean, we've seen it kind of take over
It's nothing unique to any defensive coach in the league. And I'm sure as soon as we all saw it in the Super Bowl on, 5 or 6 4th downs they converted, I'm sure everybody was on the phone, talking to each other. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So, that's probably what happened. It's been in the back of my mind since I watched that game in February.
I guess what is not to give your specifics, but what is it all just the same thing, leverage in the middle and trying to
just like most football plays, establish the line, who's going to win the line of scrimmage, who's going to play with lower pad level, and then see who's going to tackle the ball carrier. It doesn't really change. It doesn't matter if it's 4th and 1, 4th and 5. That's the name of the game. That's the beauty of our sport. It's really simple. When you keep it simple, it's really simple. It's beautiful. It's a brotherhood. It's fun to play. It's fun to coach, and I enjoy it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's always freezing in the building, though. It's like constant 60 degrees.
Talk about some of your rookies, Michael Mayer and Trey Tucker, and getting them more involved in the offense, and specifically about Michael. I know you guys have been asking him to block a lot. That's just part of the nature of the job. But does that responsibility sometimes maybe take away from him as a weapon in the pass game, or and can we expect to see him maybe more in the pass game?
It does sometimes, for sure. He obviously is every week is going to have a big role in the running game just by the nature of his position. But we have to get involved more in the passing game. We want to get more involved in the pass game. That goes for every skill player. But since he's on the field so much, we definitely have to do that moving forward, and we're going to try to do that on a weekly basis because I think he deserves some opportunities to catch the football. He was productive in camp, productive in the preseason for us, and that's our job to try and get him the football and see what he can do with the ball in his hands. So.
It's probably easier said than done, but what does that come down to? Just calling a play for him, or like designing things for him?
We had a couple of things in the game for him this past week in LA, and the game kind of went a certain way where we had to help with the protection, and obviously he plays a big part in that in terms of on the edge and things like of that nature. And sometimes the ball finds you, sometimes it doesn't. You saw Hoop catch a ball on a play and get 9 yards, and then we had a chance in the first quarter to hit Michael down the seam, and we threw it to Tay, and so there were a couple opportunities for him to get the football. Wasn't in there on a few of those. We went to Hoop, and then, but yeah, I think both Hooper and him have done a good job in practicing the passing game, and they definitely deserve that opportunity to get the ball in the game. We got to do a better job of getting them involved.
Is it the same thing applied to Trey in terms of kind of figuring out ways to get him more implemented?
Yeah, Trey was ready to go on Sunday. Tay went down with his injury, so that left Jacoby and Hunter and then Trey and DeAndre in the 3 receiver groupings to kind of go 4 for 3 there. So he got out there quick and knew what to do. I was proud of him, man. Coach Bennett did a great job on the sideline getting those guys prepared. Making sure they knew what Tay's role was in case Tay wasn't going to return to the game. So he got out there on a 2nd down and got open on a route, and the ball went to JJ. But proud of him knowing what to do and getting open. And for sure, I think now that we're a month into the season, you're kind of finding out who you are and who those guys are. And we've had them now for about 8 weeks now, including camp. So definitely going to have fun. These next few weeks, kind of just this is what they can do well. Here's what we have to get them involved on. And I think we're going to try and do that on a weekly basis with Michael and with him because they deserve it.
How much
Yep.
progress? Sorry, how much progress have you seen from Michael as a blocker? I mean, was it something you did a whole lot in college?
Yeah, I thought this past game was his best game blocking. He did a really good job on the edge. You know, that's not an easy task with the guys they had over there, and he's getting better with his hands, getting better with his feet, his pad level, and it improves every week with Mike. So he's really done a good job of that. But I thought this past week has been his best. Yes, I told you guys last week against Pittsburgh, I thought he blocked well. He did a better job this past week, and he was just getting better and better. He takes a lot of pride in it. I think that's the biggest thing with Mike. He's loves football, takes it very seriously, and he wants to improve. And he works really hard with Coach Jerry after practice to making sure his hands are in the right spot. And there are times when, you know what, he gets a little too wide, and that's just football, you know. But for a young guy, you know, playing the first year in the system, I thought he's done a really good job in the running game and has improved every week. This past week being his best one, in my opinion.
Look at a player like Thayer, who may not be, first in the depth chart, but he still gets a lot of snaps
Yeah.
in jumbo packages.
Mhm.
Can you just talk about how useful he still is at his position and, the progress he's made from year 1 to year 2?
Yeah, definitely. He got out there in a few series at right tackle for Jermaine, so they kind of had a rotation going there early in the first half, and then the second half was going good, so we kind of kept Jermaine in their right tackle. But he's definitely contributed a lot in that jumbo position. In terms of how you get matched in terms of defenses, if you put the jumbo tackle out there, you may get a certain personnel grouping that you want. You may not. But yeah, he's definitely taken that role and kind of ran with it. Justin Huron has done the same thing. He kind of learns that position too. But to have somebody in there who can really be a force in the running game and also help out in some protection things, and he's going to do a good job on it. And bring some physicality to the team. He takes pride in it. So proud of what he's done. You guys saw that last year against Kansas City, a couple other games, and then this past season. So he's done a really good job with that.
A couple of Chargers after the game were saying that they could just see Aiden processing and thinking, and just kind of taking his time out there. Is that something that just comes with experience that kind of comes out of you after a while you've been out there?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Any young player, especially at quarterback position, the things happen a little faster than usual. Definitely different from the preseason games, and the guys running routes are moving faster. It's just everything's kind of moving at a faster pace. It's moving faster than practice. But I thought he did a good job of settling in the second half and taking the easy completions and getting the ball out of his hands. And we're down there with a chance to win the game. So I was proud of him the way he battled and kind of adjusted, didn't waver, was positive on the sideline, didn't get down on himself, was picking guys up, picking the line up, picking the running backs up, and you could see the command he had of the huddle. I know the guys respected that from him. I thought he did a good job of that. But yeah, I mean, he got his feet wet a little bit and then felt comfortable as the game went on, which at quarterback is difficult to do if things don't go right early. And I thought he handled adversity very well, which I was proud of him.
What's up? Sweet. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys.